Hey y'all, welcome back to Nini's Texas Kitchen. Tonight we're going to make some, I think it's pronounced Focaccia bread. It's an Italian style bread, but this one's going to be decorative. So I'm going to attempt to decorate it with different vegetables that'll look like a flower scene. I haven't ever made one of these before, but I have a friend that requested that I make it. So this is for you, Nikki. Alright, so let's get started. First thing you're going to need is a stand mixer. If you don't have one, you can mix everything by hand. It just takes a little bit more effort and time on energy on your part. So the ingredients are 3 cups of flour, 3 tablespoons of butter, 7.5 ounces of water, and my water's room temperature, so it wants warm water, so I'm going to heat it up for just like 20 seconds. Then you'll need 3.5 tablespoons of regular granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of dry milk or powdered milk. Okay. You need, what does it say on salt? You need 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of yeast. So I'm going to mix all this in. So you need a dough hook on your stand mixer. Add your flour. Put your butter in. And I sort of let my butter stand at room temperature for like 30 minutes just so it wasn't too cold and hard. Because if it's cold, sometimes that'll inhibit the yeast a little bit. So just put that in. Then add in your salt on one side of your bowl. I need to get that out, all that. Make sure all the salt gets in there. Like that. Put your sugar and your dry milk in. Make sure all your dry milk gets in there. Then put your yeast on the opposite side of the bowl from where you put your salt. So that it's not immediately mixed in with your salt. The salt can inhibit the action of yeast. Okay? Then make a little well in the center with your fingers. Pour your water in. And I do like half of it and then start my mixer. Don't be afraid, we'll flop it out of there and turn it down a little bit. And then add the rest of your water slowly. You want it to form a dough ball. So you just let this mix up real good until it forms into a good dough ball. And as you can see, it's starting to make one. You can keep letting it mix like this if you want to for like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. But at this point, I like to take it out of my stand mixer and do the rest of it by hand to get it to that smooth ball that I like. So you just want a little bit of flour. You don't want a whole lot. Just a tiny bit. Make sure you take all your dough. If there's any dry left in the bottom, just squinch it up in the dough. Put in your flour. And then just knead it until it gets smooth and your gluten fibers start to get stretchy. So right now the texture is a dough ball, but you can kind of feel the flour roughness on the outside. But the more that you knead it, the smoother it'll become, because the gluten starts to stretch in the flour, and then your dough will become smooth. So that's our goal, is to make it smooth. It's already starting to get a little bit smooth. In the meantime, I also turn my oven on to proof, because that just sets your oven at like a 85 degree temperature, 80 degree temperature, so that your dough will rise at a little above room temperature. It just gives it a good rise on the dough, and my dough is already starting to get smooth and stretchy. See how it stretches? So I just keep working it until it's the consistency that I can feel with my hands that's real, real smooth. And you can do it in your mixer, but after it mixes up into a ball, I like to do it this way because I can feel it. And I know the texture that I'm looking for. And it's smooth because my glutens are stretchy. Look at that. See how it stretches? All right. So that is about right. So I have a nice smooth dough ball. So the next thing that you do is take about a tablespoon of oil in a pan. Now you can use vegetable oil. I'm using canola oil. The recipe says to use extra virgin olive oil, but I don't like olive oil. I just don't like the flavor, so I don't use it. But you can, it's no big deal. So put your bread in there, toss it one time, and then let your dough sit there. Then take some cling wrap and cover it. Loosely. You want it covered loosely because you don't want a film to form on the outside of your dough. Oil will help with that a little bit, but the cling wrap will keep extra air from getting on it. And then just set it to rise for about 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to set it for 45. If I want to do 15 more when it hits, I will. So that's how you get your dough ready. Now, this is a decorative focaccia. So, earlier I prepped my stuff that I'm going to decorate with. So what I bought at the store was some fresh sprig parsley, okay? And these are going to be my flower stems. See how they look? They look like flowers. All right? Flower stems. So those will be the stems. And then I bought some little grape tomatoes and I halved them. So these will be some of my flowers as well. And then I bought an orange and a yellow bell pepper. So with my orange ones, I sliced up some thin slices, so I may make some flower pieces with that. I haven't really decided yet. And then with my yellow, I cut out pieces of it that were sort of round for the centers of my flowers. And then I have some I sliced on an angle on the side thinly, and then I'm gonna make this kind of pinwheel shape, and it'll be like a flower, and it'll have the little yellow center in the dough like that with the stem. So it'll look like a flower. Now, I've never made a decorative focaccia before. I hope it turns out beautiful, but even if it doesn't, it'll still taste good. So if yours doesn't turn out beautiful, don't worry about it. People will still want to eat it. And then when I get to that point, I'll cover it in my pesto that I bought. I bought pesto. You can make pesto if you want to. I'm trying to save time. So I bought some pesto. I'll sprinkle that on there with some Parmesan, and then I'll decorate it with my flowers. So once it gets done rising and we get to that point, we'll be back and we'll show you what to do next. All right, y'all, welcome back. We just took our dough out of our proving drawer, or rising, and as you can see, it has doubled in size. So, what you want to do with focaccia, it's been in the oil, so you don't need flour this time. So turn it out onto your counter. Then what you want to do is roll it out slightly. Don't over roll it. You want it to fit in your pan, but if you over roll it, you can lose some of the air from the rise. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit, and then I've already prepared this 10 by 15 cookie sheet, or spring, like a sponge roll pan. So press it out in here as good as you can. It does not have to be perfect. You're going to decorate it, make it all beautiful and everything. So now that you have it like this, what you want to do is let it sort of rise again for like 20 minutes. It's more like resting because it's not going to rise up that much, but you want it to a little bit, and then you'll decorate it. So we're going to set it back in here as is, and this oven is not heated. It's just ready for it to rest for 20 minutes. So I'm going to put it in there for 20 minutes, and then when it comes out, that's when we'll get ready to decorate it and prepare it with all of our stuff that we have ready. All right, see you then. All right, y'all, we're back, and we just got through letting our focaccia dough rest for about 20 minutes. So now I'm going to set my oven to 400 degrees and let that start heating up while we decorate it. So you don't have to do this, but I like to take a little bit of pesto and just, you know, brush it on here. It makes it have a good flavor. So I'll just brush it on thinly. You want to still be able to see your decorations on your bread. So the pesto has just got some olive oil and some parsley and different Italian seasonings, some garlic. Alright, that's good enough. And you can leave that part off if you don't want it on there. So I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to do my decorations like that. So I bought these parsley sprigs, these fresh ones, and I'm just going to put them on here, and you just sort of spread them out, kind of press them down into it. It's like your little leaves on a flower stem. Now if you were making a a regular focaccia that you weren't decorating, then you would just take your end of your wooden spoon and you would just poke every so often just to make little dips in it. That's how we're going to do it. And then you're going to take and put your yellow cinders for your flowers. And then one of them I'm going to make with onion, purple onion. Like you're just fanning it out. So for this one, I'm going to break off a piece of my parsley. Just to make a small one. Over, purple shows. All right. This one is supposed to be sort of like the sun. You could use the orange bell pepper to sort of make it like flames or something if you wanted to. Like I said, it doesn't, it's just whatever you like. Make it abstract. Now I'm just going to make a little border down here. Like little pebbles. Alright. So, I've got it decorated. It's not perfect. I'm not an artist. I am a baker and a teacher. So, now I'm going to put it in the oven. Well, I'm going to let it finish heating up to 400 because this is bread, so you need to make sure you let it heat up all the way. So, we'll be back in a sec. Alright, our oven finished heating up all the way. So now, we're just going to put it in here. 400 degrees. And we're going to set our timer for 15 minutes. So, you start out at 400 for 15 minutes. But then you check it, you just want to make sure it's starting to turn sort of a nice golden and brown. And if it isn't, then just do it like an extra 5 minutes. 15 will probably be plenty though, since it's kind of a thin, flatter type bread. So we'll be back as soon as the 15 minutes is up. Alright y'all, our focaccia is done. I cooked it for 20 minutes at 400 to get my nice golden brown color. So as you can see, it turned out pretty good. It looks pretty. I'm not an artist, but it's okay. So if you want to make one, this is one way you can do it. So the way that you serve focaccia is you cut it in squares. So I'm just going to cut a little piece off so you can see how it's done. See that? And it's still hot, but it's ready. So I'm going to give it a little try. Texture's perfect. Very good bread. If you like my video on how to make decorated focaccia, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. We'll see y'all next time at Nini's Texas Kitchen.